LakelandCarKeys.com. I'm currently in a 2003 Mitsubishi Montero Sport. The customer had one program key, and then he had two other chip keys that were already previously cut and asked me to program them. So I did read all three keys to verify that they were the correct transponder, and I attempted to do the programming with my Autel KM100. The KM100 did pull the generic programming pin, and then it told me it will erase all keys, and then I have to add them back in. So when I went in to add the key feature in the Key 2 Plus, in the KM100, it just told me programming failed, and the key was still in the system. So I switched over to the Auto Pro Pad Basic, and it didn't give me a warning about erasing keys, but it did erase that first key and then failed to program any keys back in. I switched to the Lonsdor K518 Pro. Went in, it read that there was 0 keys. I used the add a key feature. It added his original key back in. And then when it asked me if I wanted to add the next key in, I put one of the new keys in and attempted to program it, and that failed. So I backed out and went into the add a key feature again. So those are the only two options it gives me, is add a key and reset immobilizer. So I went into add a key. It told me there was one key in there, and then it added one of his new keys in. And then on the third key, I just did the same thing. I backed out, started with add a key, added the third key, and now there's 3 keys in the system. Vehicle starts up, stays running, and there's usually a immobilizer light right up here in this corner. So if that stays on or stays flashing, then you know your key's not programmed. If it goes out, then you have a good working key. So with this vehicle, it doesn't even come on. Most vehicles, they come on for a couple seconds when you first start it, but this one, it doesn't even come on at all. I'm not concerned with it. The vehicle stays running with all 3 keys. So, sometimes this is why we end up with, multiple programmers. If I had this one not worked, I have about 4 more other programmers that I probably would have ran through before we would have had to either try to emo off the vehicle or try to do some EEPROM work. But so if anyone else is running into this, maybe if we started off with an all keys lost and erased everything, maybe I would have been able to add them in one by one. I'm not sure. But I did look on YouTube, and every video that I was able to find on this particular vehicle was only for remote programming, and none of them covered transponders. In a normal case, I would have probably cloned this key, but I didn't have any of the shells with me. So, if there's ever an issue where it's questionable, and Mitsubishis are always questionable, and the key is clonable, I'll just clone the keys. And unfortunately, the keys that he didn't have windows in them for me to replace the chip with a clonable chip. So, we kind of got in a little tight situation, but thankfully the Lonsdor K518 Pro was able to save us, and he is going to be on his way. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. LakelandCarKeys.com.